Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about an important topic, those times when it really isn't a good idea to be alone at home. So many of us live solo nowadays, whether by choice or circumstance, and independent living has its perks for sure. But there are also moments when being by ourselves around the clock just isn't healthy. As someone who's experienced dark times like that before, I want to use this platform to help others who may be struggling right now. So pour yourself a cozy cup of tea, get comfy, and let's chat. Recognizing the red flags. For me, the warning signs started with runaway thoughts. My inner critic would latch onto worst-case scenarios and replay them over and over in my head. At first, it was just worrying about typical stuff like work deadlines or relationship problems. But eventually, the scenarios got darker, to the point where I was picturing graphic, violent images I couldn't shake. I'd be going about my day only to suddenly feel terrified for no reason. It took me a while to realize these thoughts weren't normal anxiety. They felt malicious, like they were purposefully sabotaging my happiness. That's when I knew I needed help. Reaching out and opening up to friends or a professional can disrupt those harmful thought patterns before they take over. If any part of my experience sounds familiar, don't ignore those red flags. You don't have to deal with intrusive thoughts alone. Anxiety's paralyzing grip. Those moments when anxiety took hold of me were like being trapped in a labyrinth of fear and doubt. It was as if my senses were dialed up to the maximum, and every little noise or situation triggered an avalanche of catastrophic thoughts. Even the warmth of friendship felt like a cold, distant place because my mind convinced me that I was somehow unworthy of their companionship. The simple act of rising from bed in the mornings turned into an insurmountable task, overshadowed by the weight of relentless apprehension. But it was a particular night, during a panic attack that felt like a descent into the abyss, that everything shifted. My heart was a drum racing out of control, and it felt like an invisible vice clamped down on my chest, suffocating me with fear. In that harrowing moment, when I was certain my world was crumbling, all I craved was the solace of someone's presence. It was a jarring awakening because, amidst the terror, I realized the profound need for human connection and support. It sparked a tiny glimmer of hope, a realization that I didn't have to navigate this overwhelming experience alone. Reaching out to those I trusted was the pivotal step that began my journey towards acknowledging the gravity of my anxiety and mental health. Opening up to someone, allowing them a glimpse into the tempest raging within, felt like stepping out from the shadows into a sliver of light. It was the start of recognizing that the weight of these terrifying physical symptoms didn't have to be mine to bear alone. Breaking the cycle of isolation. Feelings of sadness, loneliness, and self-doubt formed a nasty downward spiral for me when depression took hold. I'd stop answering texts and calls because I was sure friends secretly wished I'd disappear. That isolation just fueled more dark thoughts and made my low moods even worse. It took a close friend showing up unexpectedly on my doorstep one afternoon for me to realize how badly I'd cut myself off. Just having a short chat over coffee reminded me how caring people can be, even for flawed folks like me. Now when depression seeps in, I refuse to let its cruel whispers cut me off from loved ones again. Even small acts of reaching out for support make a big difference. You deserve so much better than to suffer alone in sadness. Past trauma overwhelming the present. Triggering experiences can happen suddenly, even when you feel you've processed past hurts. I remember the distinct smell that transported me right back to a traumatic childhood memory in an instant. All the intense emotions from that moment washed over me again like it just happened. My thoughts spiraled fast, telling me all the reasons I'd never heal from what I went through. Through tears, I called my best friend, and just having her there to comfort me without judgment was everything. Later, therapy helped me see that I wasn't uniquely broken. Asking for empathy in painful times is a sign of strength, not weakness. Traumatic memories may never fully leave us, but with compassion and community, we can always remind ourselves we survived the worst and have so much still ahead to live for. our bodies reflecting our minds. Panic attacks were both mentally and physically terrifying for me when they first started. One minute I'd be going about my day normally, and the next it was like my body lost control with a heart pounding out of control and strained breathing. Not knowing when the next episode could hit kept me constantly on alert. Over time, I realized there was clearly a mental component too, as even small stresses could trigger a downward spiral of symptoms. Once I began processing emotions in healthy ways and opening up more, my physiological anxiety slowly began to relax as well. Now when tensions arise, I pay close attention to what my mind and body might be trying to communicate. It's an ongoing journey, but listening when our physical selves speak up is so important for well-being. Unsettling physical symptoms. Experiencing those panic attacks was like being caught in a whirlwind of physical and mental chaos. It was as if my body and mind were in a constant tug of war, and I was the battleground. The rapid shift from normalcy to an overwhelming surge of heart palpitations and shallow breaths left me feeling utterly powerless. The uncertainty of when the next wave would crash over me kept me in a perpetual state of vigilance, almost as if I were walking on a tightrope without a safety net. Understanding that there was a mental aspect to these symptoms was a turning point. It was like uncovering a hidden puzzle piece that suddenly made the picture clearer. Small triggers, seemingly insignificant stressors, could set off a chain reaction within me, plunging me into a state of heightened anxiety. Learning to recognize and process these emotions became my lifeline. Opening up and sharing those feelings with trusted individuals became a pivotal step towards healing. As I began to address these emotions in healthier ways, I noticed a gradual shift in my physical responses. It was like my body was finally starting to unclench from the perpetual tension it had been holding onto. I started paying close attention to the signals my body was sending me when faced with stressors. It was a journey of introspection and learning, like deciphering a complex language between my mind and body. Listening to these cues became essential. It was like tuning into an inner compass guiding me toward greater well-being. Today, when tensions bubble up, I approach them differently. I've learned to pause, take a breath, and tune into what my body and mind are trying to communicate. It's an ongoing process, a continuous conversation between different parts of myself. But this newfound awareness has given me a sense of empowerment, an understanding that acknowledging and addressing these physical manifestations of stress is a profound act of self-care. It's an ongoing journey, but one where I've discovered the incredible importance of heeding the messages our physical selves convey for our overall health and happiness. Thank you so much for watching this video and participating in this important discussion. Our mental health and safety should always be a top priority. I sincerely hope you or someone you know found this conversation to be helpful or encouraging in some way. Please remember to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Feel free to share your own experiences or ideas in the comments. Building an understanding community is so valuable. Most of all, look out for yourself and each other. I'll see you in the next video.